Hi friends, it's Genevieve. Let me turn off my air conditioning here. How are you all doing? I asked that question kind of knowing the answer, but wanting to genuinely know how you guys are. And I have so many thoughts going on in my head, in my heart, in my household right now. That I just wanted to start with a book because we share our story times every Wednesday. And I'm happy to have many of you here. I hope you're safe and sound. I hope your kids are healthy, safe, and that they feel secure right now. There's so much going on, so much to talk about, so much to think about. But like I said, I wanted to start with this really cool book called The Skin You Live In. This is by Michael Tyler, illustrated by David Lee Csicsko. And here it is. The Skin You Live In. Let's hear some music so we can get in a good mood. Hey, look at your skin. The wonderful skin you live in. The skin you're all day in, the skin that you play in, the skin that you snuggle up, cuddle up, and lay in. The skin that you beam in, the skin that you scream in, the skin that you dream about eating ice cream in. The skin you have fun in, the skin that you run in, the skin that you hop, skip, and jump in the sun in. The skin that you laugh in, the skin that you cry in, the skin that you look to the sky and ask why in. It's baby-born new skin, and your family too skin, and it glows when it shows that it knows we love you skin. It's face in the rain bold skin, and snow angel cold skin, and warm again, let it in, sunshine, behold, skin. It's trembling fright skin. It cringes at night skin. But turn off the lights to make birthday cake bright skin. It's whatever you do skin. Be happy it's you skin. You can't live without it. I'm glad it's me too skin. And look at the shades it comes in. The shades of your colorful skin. Your coffee and cream skin. Your warm cocoa dream skin. Your chocolate chip, double dip, Sundae supreme skin. Your marshmallow treat skin. Your sponge sugar sweet skin. Your cherry-topped, candy-dropped, frosting complete skin. Your pumpkin pie slice skin. Your caramel corn nice skin. Your toffee-wrapped, ginger-snapped, cinnamon spice skin. Your butterscotch gold skin. Your lemon tart bold skin. Your mountain high apple pie cookie dough rolled skin. Now look once again at your skin. And the skin all people live in. It's not tall skin or short skin, or best in the sport skin, or fat skin or thin skin, or you lose and I win skin. Nor sad skin or mad skin, your naturally bad skin. I'm rich and you're poor and you'll never have more skin. It's not dumb skin or smart skin, or keep us apart skin, or weak skin or strong skin. I'm right and you're wrong skin. Nor she skin or he skin, you're better than me skin. I'm lesser than you skin. It's me against you, skin. It's not any of this, 'cause you're more than you seem. You're all that you think, and you hope, and you dream. You're a gifted creation with imagination. You're a new day desire to reach even higher. You're the feelings that start from down deep in your heart. You're the pride and the joy inside each girl and boy. So whenever you look at your beautiful skin, from your wiggling toes to your giggling grin, think how lucky you are that the skin you live in so beautifully holds the you who's within. And like flowers in the fields that make wonderful views, when we stand side by side in our wonderful hues, we all make a beauty so wonderfully true. We're special and different and just the same too. That is a beautiful, beautiful book. Oh my goodness, sorry, I got a little bit emotional on that one. How's everyone doing? Are you guys okay? I think that a lot of us, and kids, I don't want you to worry that Genevieve is sad, because, you know, a lot of people are sad, and that happens too in life. Sometimes grown-ups don't get along with each other, or they don't see eye to eye. And the thing that we need to do is talk to each other. So there's a lot going on right now in the world. And I really like this book, by the way. I want to mention it one more time. This is written by Michael Tyler and illustrated by David Lee Csicsko. So great job with that one. So for a lot of you guys, and I don't know, depending how old your kids are, it's definitely, I'm sure, been very difficult to have discussions about what's going on right now. For some of you guys watching, some of us are just trying to come to terms with everything going on. And I think that as parents, we have a job to do as people and humans. And I know that if you're here, if you are on my page, that you all, you know, you love all people. I mean, I've seen it. I've been so fortunate for my own personal experiences. You've shown through the years of allowing me into your homes, allowing DC into your homes, allowing your children of all backgrounds and nationalities to look up to us. You've taught through example about how to treat people. But we find ourselves now at a time where words and actions matter a whole lot. So we've seen right now people are marching in the street, people are protesting, and people are fed up with the way that Black people have been treated in many ways. Right now, what people are marching in the street regarding is if police officers who hurt someone who, I'm trying to, because I know I have young people watching, but it is important that we talk. So, you know, people are marching in the street because there have been many African American people that have been hurt by some certain police officers, and those police officers were not held accountable or charged for what those police officers have done. Therefore, making a lot of Black people, Black men, Black women, Black children fear that a police officer can do something to them and not be held accountable. That's what people are marching for right now. Now, of course, there's people who are doing, who are not a part of that movement and are just have decided to break things and steal things, and that's not a part of the movement. That's separate, and I'm glad that the news media is talking about that and separating the peaceful protesters from people that are being destructive. But it also brings up some interesting points that people want to talk about. Of course, that there are good police officers. Of course, there are good police officers. My grandfather, Joseph Kimball, he was a great police officer. And he stood for wonderful things as well. So just because people are marching in the street because of something that happened, that has been happening and unfortunately has been happening and was going to continue to happen without justice. Justice is what this fight is for, okay? Just because that is being marched for and protested on, it doesn't mean another thing. So I think it's important that it doesn't mean all police officers are bad. Or saying Black Lives Matter does not mean that white lives don't matter or that all lives don't matter. Okay? It's a specific movement at that moment. So we need to have these discussions because it's very important, because I think also as a society, we go through everything's so urgent now. We are able to respond to something right away, or the news comes through to us and it's there right away. We sometimes want to jump in and have a response to something to make it all better fast. We're not going to make this all better fast. It's not going to get better fast, but it can get better if we talk, if we do things, and if we, there's going to have to be some forgiveness involved. Unfortunately, people who are oppressed tend to be the ones that are always asked to keep forgiving. However, it's going to be a lot of work from a lot of people. I feel so blessed that I get to speak to parents and again, that so many of you are open to talk. Because I think, unfortunately, when you see so many people not getting along and trying, I feel that there's a lot of very well-meaning people who sometimes stumble into saying the wrong things. Hence also like the all lives matter reaction, or there's many ways, but here we go. We need to receive the information, and we need to understand why certain things are hurtful. And sometimes there is not something to be said back other than, I'm sorry, I'm learning, and I'll try better, So I think sometimes, again, like I said, we want to jump in and say something. People want to jump in and associate what's happening right now with something that they've been through. Or, another thing that's easy to want to jump in and say is like, well, I love Black people. Of course, I have, Black friends, family, I have, and now here you have gone when you mean well, here you going on this story about yourself when it's not what we're talking about, So again, there's so many ways that we can mean well, and perhaps we need to listen more first. I think that everyone everyone knows what happened to George Floyd was absolutely disgusting and scary and terrible. And part of the point now that so many people have talked about is, okay, well, you can post that you stand with people, or we can say that we support who we support, but then what are we going to do about it? So I think this is an ongoing conversation. For me, because I'm primarily focused on children, I'm wondering if our generation can't get it together, which I would hate to believe, our kids are going to have it together. Our kids, I will guarantee you that your kids love everyone from the beginning. We all know that racism is learned. And it's important for all of us. And again, I have a lot of friends on here on both sides of a lot of different issues. Okay? I don't really get political on my page because I don't want to, set myself apart from someone's child because their parent may vote a different way. But this has gotten much bigger than just that. This is a human issue. So it's important for us as parents, when we talk about things around our children, that what we say, we can't always make what we say in front of our children. We can't lead them to believe that what we say is the truth, what we think is the truth, that our opinions are the truth. Okay? And that goes for liberals too. I think we need to tell our kids the way we're feeling and why. Let them understand why we're hurting. Let them understand why maybe our family member feels differently than us, and that's why we haven't seen them for a while. Kids are very smart, and I know I've seen this firsthand when you guys come to my shows and your kids run up and give us a hug, and we're all one big happy family. I mean, we've seen it. And I just keep babbling. But I think it's important for us as parents to just think about a couple of things. One that I wanted to put on here that you can go back later and read this. This is 10 things that allies can do. An ally is someone who has privilege but chooses to stand for and with marginalized communities, okay? And number one there is to listen. We listen to what marginalized people are saying. And a lot of times, like I said, it doesn't mean you jump in with a response or a story about how it also happened to you. This is a great quote that someone mentioned about the All Lives Matter. It's explained to me like this: your son's feelings are hurt by a friend and he comes to you crying. You hug and console your baby and tell him his feelings matter and he's loved. But your other kids ask, what about me? Well, it's not about them right now. Of course you love your other kids, but right now your little boy is hurt and needs your attention and love. I don't know if that can help someone who maybe has been struggling with the All Lives Matter concern. There's a lot more that we could talk about there as well, just like this sign. We said Black Lives Matter. We never said only Black Lives Matter. We know all lives matter. We just need your help with Black Lives Matter, for Black lives are in danger, okay? So there's a lot of things, again, that we need to just listen, internalize. So what else can we do? We can get educated. Look for books, articles, films, etc. Get involved, join your local groups. Show up. When someone from a marginalized community invites you to an event, go. Be there to listen. And speak up when a friend, family member, coworker, or stranger says something hateful or ignorant. This is big because kids, you can do this too. If you ever hear someone talking about someone because they're a certain way, okay, you know what's wrong. You can feel it. You feel it in your tummy when it's wrong. And it sits there and it moves around like a stomach ache. And you are strong enough to say something. or intervene, like number 6 says. Then number 7, when you encounter something that makes you uncomfortable, don't dismiss it. You sit with it and ask yourself why, and you welcome it as an opportunity to grow. Then number 8, you learn from your mistakes. That's a huge one, you guys. If you guys have followed me for a while, you've seen me make some mistakes too. I've said things that after reading comments, I realized I didn't feel that way anymore. And actually, it wasn't right for me to say what I said. And if you've been following me, you can go back over the history of my posts over the past decade, and you'll see me apologizing for stuff. That's not easy to do. Now, maybe at one point you felt Colin Kaepernick kneeling was disgraceful and hurtful, and now you fast forward to the protests and you see police officers taking a knee with the protesters, and you wonder, do I see it differently now? Was he trying to protest about this same very thing in a quiet way, but trying to make noise as he could by simply taking a knee? Again, we can be on different sides of this issue. I just think we need to think about it, and we just need to be aware and talk about it. So the other sort of what can I do that was in here was to learn from your mistakes, of course, and to stay engaged even when the work gets difficult. So marginalized people do not have the privilege of turning it off. So that's a heavy statement that I think is probably better for parents to maybe talk about with their kids later. The number 10 here says to donate, and I want you guys to do your research. I can share what I learn of who I think is great places to donate, but we also need to remember that change happens, and specifically, again, people are marching now regarding police brutality of Black Americans and not having repercussions for it. So with that being said, how do we change the police system? This all goes down as local as your mayor. Mayors are the ones who, I can't think of the right word right now, swear in the police chiefs, right? So it's at your local level that you can get involved, and you can start learning now. And again, just like I said, if you felt a certain way and now you're starting to feel a different way, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I wasn't doing the greatest job as I could have been. Because for me, I think being silent on some issues maybe isn't the greatest thing. So while I'm having this conversation, I'm not necessarily proud of myself for everything I've ever done. I've tried very hard to lead by example. You see it in my household, in my family, in my friends, in you guys. If I was able to turn this camera around and see into all of your households, we would see so many beautiful families. And because we get to be together here, we have so much in common. And that's what helps us, and that's what we get to celebrate. One other thing I wanted to bring up was, as far as what can we do, some of you may not be a person of color. You love all people, and you just aren't around a lot of Black people in your neighborhoods, right? So your kids aren't growing up with Black friends, not because you don't want them to, but because they're not living in your neighborhood. What can you do in that situation, right? So here's something to think about. And obviously you have your kids listening to my music, watching Choo Choo Soul, following me, following DC, following Z and Omega. And there's other things that you can do. Your children who are old enough to have social media, who are they following? Are they idolizing only white children? And this is just something to talk about. This isn't me accusing anyone of anything or anything like that. It's just something to think about, you know? Who do you watch when you pass by the TV? Who does daddy say is beautiful? You know, who does mommy mention is handsome and why? Can you point out nonchalantly a beautiful smile on 6 different races of someone on television that subconsciously plants as a seed in your children's head? Do your children have dolls of different nationalities? You know, and this again, I'm not like accusing anyone of anything. I'm just wondering, is this something that we can start at the young level, of just an awareness, you know? And I think that all of this happening is opening an awareness to all of us, and just to remember to be gentle with each other, like I say a lot, to be open to hearing other people's sides, and to be open to explaining yourself, even if it feels like you've been explaining forever, because it just might be now that people are finally ready to hear you. I know that we've had a lot of deep conversations in my household, and we actually filmed one that was a very long conversation that my husband is editing right now, but we'll put that up too. That I think there's some good moments in there, of hearing from his perspective. But, you know, I feel also there have been times when because we've traveled all over the country with my beautiful choo-choo train and my Do You Know brand, and just the joy that has been my career. We have been able to travel all over, and, you know, there have been times when, even though when we walk in as a group, you know, people will look and see, you know, oh, a group of minorities, or but my husband specifically was dealing with this feeling that, you know, he'd be like, well, what city is it? Well, I don't know. Are there black people there? You know, he would say, kind of like almost as a joke, that isn't funny, you know, because it's like there's certain feelings that he has felt that I have, as sort of like, I have an ethnically ambiguous look, right? So I don't feel what he feels when he walks into certain situations. Now, granted, we have been greeted with so much love across the country. I mean, so much. So many of you guys are like friends with him on social media, and it's like beyond just, you know, Choo Choo Soul or my Do You Know music. But he was dealing with something that in many ways I kind of would be like, oh, come on, babe, you know our fans, they're amazing. Like, no, it's not like that. And in that way, is a big part of it is because I just don't want it to be true. But to discredit someone and their feelings is not good. It's not fair. And so I apologize for that. And that's somewhere that I have personally, you know, fallen short as a partner. And, you know, we just keep talking. We keep getting this stuff through. But one of the big points that he made, and I'll close on this one, is that, you know, it's easy for someone to say, like, oh gosh, here they go again, complaining, you know, this is my husband's words. And he's saying, you know, it's happening. So we're going to complain until it stops happening. And as long as anyone feels like it feels like, I'm sorry, I lose my, I lose my words when my heart is in my throat. As long as people don't want to see that it's happening or want to say, you know, they're complaining again, or it's really not that bad. As long as that's how people feel, then it's not going to get better. And like Corey was saying, it won't affect you until it affects you. It won't affect you until it happens to him. It could be, I mean, it's unreal to think that my husband could want to work on getting his 11th and 12th ab, okay? And he wants to put his hood on so he can sweat more and go jog down the street. I mean, it's something. And then to just take that arrow out and shoot it further through my heart, it's like it could happen to my son. He could be out with a hooded sweatshirt on, just trying to get a candy bar, you know? And I'm starting to see comments, which I'm going to read those after this is over just to make sure I could get through. There's so much more, and I might have said some things wrong. I might look back and say, gosh, I wish I didn't say it like that. Again, that's part of our conversation. We might not always get it right. And if you think you don't want to hear it, trust me, whoever you're talking about, they don't want to say it. They don't want to feel it. They don't want to be going through it. This is not a fight for the sake of fighting. So it's just time for us to really be open and listen. And sometimes listening is the answer. So it's just, we just need to listen. We can't always jump in with the right answer right then. And it's not going to get fixed fast, but it certainly needs to be fixed. So I commend you guys. You wouldn't be here on my page if you didn't feel the same way that I do. Like I said, many of us are going to stumble over our words as we try to get on the better side of this. But I will say, for well-meaning people that are not Black, it's time to listen, to learn, to reflect, and to, when we say do something, you know, it's hard when people say, well, don't just say that, do something. And you're like, well, what do I do? You know, this is the part where we share with each other to figure out, what do we do? And like I said earlier, a lot of these changes, they occur at a local level, such as your mayor. Now, I know, again, another thing that I'm guilty of is I have let those little ballots for, you know, the ballots that aren't the big ballots come in, and me to be like, what? Who? I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what any of this is. Those days are over, okay? Those days are over. And kids, the great thing is when you guys grow up, you are going to get to vote also. And when we vote for things, that means that no matter who you are, everybody gets a vote. And that reminds me of Cinderella, when they said, everybody, no matter who you are, we want you to try on this glass slipper because you just might be the one, right? And that was so exciting because she's like, oh my gosh, they see me. That is what it feels like when you get to vote. Because sometimes you'll also learn when you get older that sometimes people know a whole bunch of stuff and you're just like, wow, how do they know so much? I don't know as much as them, so I'm not even going to talk about it, you know? But you just have to actually dive in there and try to learn. You'll be surprised. The smart people that know a whole lot, they love when people want to learn. So I think hopefully I've said the things I wanted to say. I do encourage you to go back and look at some of the things that I posted, and you can read through them, and just pause them and read through them. And one last one here. I'm just gonna put this over. This is a prayer. This is a Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. So I got this from Rev Doug LeBeau. Thank you, my friend. But this is something for us to keep in mind. Like I said, a lot of us are going to say the wrong thing, or we'll be upset. We'll feel that one thing equals another thing. Kneeling means you don't like the military, for example. I think you can see where I stand on that issue. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. Or Black Lives Matter doesn't mean all lives don't matter. That sort of thing. Along with on our path to understanding each other, we're going to stumble up. We're going to make mistakes. The history that extends through so many years in this country, some of it is just, it's atrocious. And we're still trying to get over it, but a lot of it is going to require some acceptance and apologies, So anyway, as we stumble through this, and as a group of human beings, as we work through this, I just wanted to share this with you, because sometimes that's all there is to say, okay? Sometimes it's not about putting yourself in the situation or explaining how much you empathize or understand the plight of another man. Sometimes you just need to apologize, because sometimes you just may have said the wrong thing, okay? So practice this with me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now, granted, if what you're apologizing for is bad enough, this might not be enough, but it's a start. So with that being said, thank you for hanging out with me and letting me speak to you guys. Thank you so much for being open. I'm seeing some of you guys talking to each other, and I really appreciate that. I have to say, you guys, the platform that I have and the families that I've reached, I'm so blessed to call you guys friends, because we truly are, we're just a blend. We are America personified, we're all together and we all get along. We leave comments. Sometimes we don't agree, but we think before we speak, and we try our best. And if we aren't in our best light, we apologize for it. So I think, I think we can do better, and I think we will do better. And the best part is that kids, you guys get to learn from us. We as grown-ups, we're not always going to get it right, but we're going to learn. And because we grew up and we're at the first generation of social media and talking and having instant access to respond to something all the time, it's turned some of us grown-ups into people that forget how to think before we speak. And it turns some grown-ups into bullies, and it turns some grown-ups into cowards, and some grown-ups it turns into activists, and some grown-ups it turns into change makers. So you guys get to decide who you want to be. And that's the beautiful part. So thank you guys. I encourage you to keep spreading love in your households. Your kids are the ones that will get it right. But I still have faith that we can get it right. I hope that I can reach, and now that the time for voting will be upon us again for president, it's really dawning on me how many of my fans that used to watch me as babies are now old enough to vote. That in itself is pretty incredible, and I don't take that lightly. So I'm trying to think the best way to engage utilizing that platform to that level. If you have not registered to vote yet, you can register to vote, and it really does not take that long. It does not take that long at all. So I'll share a link and you can register to vote. And remember, like I said earlier, we're all learning. You're allowed to learn. You're allowed to grow, and you're allowed to shift your thinking. So let's just all try to be a little bit more aware, and let's try to plant the right seeds in our children's minds. If you want to have any type of conversations that might be controversial and you would prefer to message me privately, you can do that too in my inbox. You know me, it does take me a while to respond sometimes, but I read every single thing. So I'm looking forward to going back and reading through these comments. Feel free to share this if you think it was helpful as a discussion. Feel free to share the video that my husband and I's conversation. And people are sad right now, and it's time. It's a shame in some ways that certain things have happened in the wake of these protests, but it's beautiful that it has awakened the world. And so I'm excited to see how we all do better. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you next week. And until we meet again, I love you.